Yes, back once again. It's that time of the week, episode 44, the Nipsey Hussle episode, the marathon episode. And I know what you're saying. Here we go again, another one of these athletes making another one of these posts or comments or giving up time of their day to speak on another slain gangster rapper. But that's not what this is. Let the culture educate you a little bit. Nipsey Hussle was so much more than just a rapper. He rapped about things that he saw in his community. And naturally, sometimes they were quite graphic and used colorful language that's not always understood in certain circles, but he was just commenting on his reality at the end of the day. And let's break this out. Let me break you out, help break you out of your common man thinking. And let's talk about this. Let's expand on what Nipsey Hussle really was. Nipsey Hussle was an athlete. What do you mean, Jelani? Nipsey Hussle wasn't an athlete. I mean, we saw him shooting jumpers in the middle of Staples Center, but he wasn't an athlete. Not so. Not so. You would be so wrong in assuming so. Why do you think he's getting such reactions and such adoration from fans, business people, the Los Angeles Police Department, people in the community, entrepreneurs, people that know business, Rock Nation, Jay-Z's, I mean, any person that's a part of pop culture, any person with just some good sense at the end of the day had something good to say about Nipsey Hussle. He has the same message as athletes, same teaching, same upbringings, same inner city communities. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand the gang culture and what it is. It's frowned upon. You know, gang started as a thing from a positive form to protect communities. The Bloods and Crips were initially started to protect the inner city communities from police brutality. Those are things that have gone unnoticed and unreported when you're talking about Bloods and Crips. You know, there's a great documentary that Baron Davis did. I'm pretty sure he's going to re-release during sometime in the near future about the Bloods and Crips. So the title will come to me in a minute, but this is what happens. What I mean by Nip was an athlete, I mean, same upbringing, South Central, you know what I mean? Same challenges and obstacles of a lot of us have had growing up in inner cities, traveled, seen the world, got exposed to some things, took some time out and went to Africa, Egypt, places, you know, the Mayan ruins, places where the vibration level is a little higher than his upbringing in South Central Los Angeles, right? So he spoke up for himself. He spoke up for himself and the community. He doubled down on himself. He bet on himself. He controlled his own masters. He sold his own mixtape for $100. Then it went up to $1,000. He understood about brand and controlling your own brand and stamping yourself. Having the confidence to stamp yourself. You know, not looking for we don't need any acceptance for outsiders when you speak the truth and you vibrate on a positivity level, you know what I mean? So, and sometimes that takes time and it's frowned upon. It's easy to look for acceptance from outsiders and look to hitch your tail to somebody else's coattails and, you know what I mean, ride their way. But that's something that Nipsey Hussle didn't really subscribe to. That's a lot of something where today's athletes don't subscribe to. The Russell Westbrooks in the world, the Baron Davises, the Trevor Arizas. Shout out to all the players in the Los Angeles area, James Harden, who grew up in those same areas as Nipsey Hussle, spent a lot of time with him, partied with him, but really learned from him. And these are all young men who are doing great things with their life in their own right. So for them to say they learned from Nipsey Hussle, who always looked upon himself as a man of the people and a leader. I think what we're missing is we lost a leader that we shouldn't lose, not only for the West Coast and Los Angeles and the California areas, but nationwide. We can't afford to lose too many leaders who have broad ideas for their community and themselves and their families. So let's get into some of Nipsey Hussle's contributions. Obviously, Laker fan. You know, he's a big time Laker fan. We don't have to speak to that. If you heard in his music, if you follow him on social media, you know how much love he had for the Los Angeles Lakers. But let's talk about the Marathon clothing store that he put in South Central. You know what I mean? Gave jobs, provided jobs, got that area cleaned up, provided jobs for the homeless people in that area, letting them sweep out the area. Refurbished courts in South Central. Had Puma come in and refurbish courts in South Central. And nobody's thinking about to do these things with South Central. There's been a handful of rappers that have came out before and during Nipsey that, you know, always bigged up South Central, but really didn't put 10 toes down. Vector 90, co-working space, cultural hub, and incubator. Come on, man, in the Crenshaw area. On the website, it says we are inner city co-working space for entrepreneurs and creatives. I don't know. I know Compton gets a lot of hub city love for, you know what I mean, for it being, having some innovative people come out of there throughout the years. But, you know, this Crenshaw, the Crenshaw and Slauson district, I mean, come on. If you moved around in LA, if you were fortunate enough to move around in LA as an athlete, as an entertainer, without getting your head knocked off, you know what I mean? Because you knew how to respect the community, the brown, the black love, the red, the blue love, you know what I mean? You know, there's a way you move around. And for Nipsey Hussle to continue to move around without security guards, and so many stories of people seeing him by himself, him being at sporting events by himself, it speaks to the confidence and the trust this man had in this community to be walking around for dolo. It's a hard thing to do. And I'm not saying I would do it, not necessarily do it if I'm Nipsey Hussle, because you get to a point in your life where you can't help people if you are them, right? Because a lot of people say that. Don't get mad at me. You know what I mean? A lot of people say you can't help them if you are them. As an athlete, as an entertainer, you make your money. Your kids go to different schools, man. You leave up out of the neighborhood because let's be honest, I don't know how many times that I've heard stories about, you know, guys, athletes, entertainers trying to stay around in the neighborhood, getting their shit jacked. Family getting sweated, you know what I mean? Running up into somebody's house or, you know what I mean, some type of apartment or, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily always safe when you reach a certain level. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I love the interview between Magic Johnson and Maverick Carter, where Magic Johnson is talking about business, and he says people come to him on thinking they can get the same level that they had when he first started his business, then or the same conversation, than he first started his business that he is now, because it's a different conversation and he's at a different level. So therefore, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that Nipsey Hussle was around somebody like a shitty cuz. I don't even know what that was. That sounds ridiculous. It's unfortunate that Nipsey Hussle was around somebody like a shitty cuz who, you know, was apprehended. Thank God. We don't want no more violence out on the streets. But it's unfortunate that the shitty cousins of the world have to be around Nipsey Hussles. But at the same time, that's a testimony to what kind of man he was and what kind of message he was sending throughout the community and throughout the nation. It's a lot of bullshit going on nowadays. For one man to be walking around dolo like a black JFK, preaching positivity and community and doubling down in the community for investments and opportunities. I mean, enough can be said. You know, our hearts go out to Laura London and his family. It's a big time deal for somebody to be standing up for himself and to lose his life over some nonsense. It's a very sad thing to do, but let's talk about, you know, the bright side of this. And this is the beauty of sports. Very sad, tragic thing to happen. Senseless violence. It's the affliction of the community. You know what I mean? It's been happening for years. It's not a conspiracy. You know, we always can't reach into the conspiracy about what the government did with Biggie's and Tupac's and every other, you know, JFK. We can't go there. This, at the end of the day, was an insecure POS that made a decision, you know what I mean, to take somebody's life into his own hands, you know what I mean? And we can only hope whatever justice is supposed to be had, that young man receives. But I digress. This is what's good about sports. If you've seen some of the players' reactions to Nipsey Hussle, we got Baron Davis's reaction, which was heartfelt. Close friend of Nipsey Hussle, around close to that same South Central area. I mean, if you watched TNT the other night, last night, you can see the emotion, and he did a good job, man, of articulating. That's what he's very good at. He did a good job of articulating himself and the why he was, so taken back, and he just voiced his opinion on why this was a big loss for the community, for the sports community, for the nation at the end of the day. So that was a very heartfelt message.
Growing up in LA, there are incredible people, right? But angels only come so often. And for us, we watch Nipsey grow up. We watch him grow up through the struggle that we all grew up in. But as a young man, he was sharp. As an adult, he became responsible. As a father and a husband, he became a leader, and our leader in LA. And so when you see Russ and DeMar, Kawhi, Trevor Ariza, James Harden honoring this man, it's because he led by example. A lot of us come up in the Tupac generation, and Tupac talked about all the things that he wanted to do in the community. Nipsey Hussle did it. Nipsey Hussle was there. And so, in the wake of just this tragedy, my heart goes out to Lauren London. Lauren, we love you. We love the kids. And as a basketball family, an LA family, we just want to honor Nipsey because he was everything to us, man.
Trevor Ariza, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick, you know what I mean? This is where sports gets it right, because the marathon still continues. Nobody's going to let Nipsey's hustle legacy, just fall by the wayside, and that's a great thing, and that's what sports can do. Russell Westbrook went absolutely crazy for the 2020. If you know, you know.
The overwhelming, man, is unbelievable to go out and humble them. Grateful for the game, man, but that wasn't for me, man. That was for my bro, man. That's for Nipsey, man. 20 plus 20. They know what that means, man. That's for my bro. Rest in peace, Nipsey, man. I'm just thankful to be able to go out and compete at a high level, man. Thankful to have these teammates. Thankful and humble to be able to go out and play the game I love.
Can't really elaborate. That's part of the culture, too. Sometimes the game is to be sold, not told. And in this case, if you know, you know. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't help you. Some things, you're on the outside looking in and you don't understand, and the people on the inside aren't allowed to explain it to you. So if you know, 2020, that's a huge accomplishment for him to set out and go and do that for his friend and accomplish that. That speaks to Russell Westbrook and the type of player that he is. And, Russell Westbrook to me is the best point guard in the NBA. I've said it a couple times on the official McCoy podcast. And anytime you can set your mind to go out and do 2020, the other person that did it was Wilt Chamberlain, and he was a Laker. So there's all kind of synergies going on there with that. Some of the other contributions from Nipsey Hussle I don't want to forget was the Dr. Sebi doc. Now, the Dr. Sebi is not new news. So don't go around thinking, I know a lot of people are doing their research on the internet about Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was fought a case. What year was that case, Justin? 1988? 1988, found not guilty of the state of New York. I think it was the state of New York against Dr. Sebi, claiming that he cleared cancer, AIDS, and a couple other highly infectious diseases with high mortality rates. He cleared that with diet and eliminating mucus from the body, herbs, spices, certain things that he's not real big on meat. So certain things in your diet that lead up to mucus being in your body. This has been around for years. Like I said, this case was in '88. I learned about this stuff when I was coming up. My parents were weird like that. My dad was a worldly man. He also traveled. He was an officer in the Navy. Part of my punishment was reading books. Some of my books were stuff like Dr. Sebi and information about, my culture and where I came from, whether it be Malcolm X to Martin Luther King to Gandhi to JFK to anything. It wasn't just black history. It was history as people on this planet. And Dr. Sebi had a lot of knowledge. Fought that case in '88. On the very next day, he won. I think 77 people testified for him. So he fought the case one day, and then the very next day, he beat the same case federally. A lot of people don't know that. Why don't people know that? These are some of the questions that Nipsey Hussles and the athletes and activists in the community ask. Like, why don't people know that? That's something somebody should know, don't you think? So I'm glad that, Nick Cannon stepped in. Shout out Nick Cannon. He's a San Diego dude. You know what I mean? Stepped in. He does a lot of work in the community as well. He's third eye-ish. There's a couple of us in the community are third eye-ish, you know what I mean? They just rely on common sense and ask common sense questions about some of the information that's out there, you know what I mean? It's not for everybody. Some people require just a little bit more information before they subscribe to some nonsense. So I'm happy Nick Cannon's going to pick up on the Dr. Sebi doc. I think that's needed. And that's just more testament to what this man's legacy was and will continue to be moving forward. So it's much more than just athletes celebrating some guy's music that they may have listened to before the game. You know what I mean? It's much more than that. You'll be ignorant if you think that, you know what I mean, that's the whole thing, that it's just about music and athletes. It's so much more. Like I said, Nipsey was an athlete. He spoke the same messages, had the same upbringing as we had. And it'll be a pleasure. I know I'm going to do my part to make sure the marathon continues, whether that is purchasing some marathon clothing gear or streaming the hell out of some Nipsey Hussle so his family can keep eating off his music, right? If you know Nip, he had one studio album, Justin, one studio album. Everything else was independent and in the trunk. Hats off to that, being independent and in the trunk. One studio album, which was fire. The Victory Lap. You know what I mean? Go stream that, you know what I mean? And get some download. You'll hear it in his lyrics, what he was all about. It's not real. He wasn't real surreptitious about his beliefs and his plans and educating young people, you know what I mean? Even in the street, what to do with some of that money that they came from ill-gotten gains. You know what I mean? And let's be honest. It hasn't been just the inner city communities where people are having money from ill-gotten gains. You know what I mean? You got kids, wealthy kids going in the side door to colleges and shit. You know what I mean? Money from ill-gotten gains. You know what I mean? Taking that money and doing something, trying at least to do something positive with it. So it's not just the inner city. A lot of people get money from ill-gotten gains. It's what you do with that money at the end of the day to do some good. Hopefully you do. And that's what it was. The Nipsey Hussle episode, man. Like I said, it's the affliction in the community. I hate that we have to have these type of conversations, or it even has to. And I got to be honest, I'm guilty of this too. So why is it that when somebody passed, a musician, an activist, a poet, an athlete, that their words have so much more meaning? Right, so now everybody's hanging on to the word of Nipsey Hussle. Now everybody's hanging on to the words of Tupac or the Notorious B.I.G. or I don't know. You could take your pick. Some of the people that have fallen down over the years. You know what I mean? We wait too long to cherish or to use some of the messages from some of these great minds that we've had over the years, whether it be through politics, sports, or music. We wait too long until these words are paid attention to. Posthumously, that's the word, posthumously. You have got people hanging on words that, you know what I mean? And I get it. In a day-to-day life, you're hunkered down. You're listening to music just to get by. You know what I mean? Unless you're lifting weights and you got your Dre beats on or whatever it is you lifting, you're not really focusing on lyrics. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I don't know how much if you're focusing on lyrics from a Nipsey Hussle. If you're not from California, you don't understand the culture. That's what it is at the end of the day. What else can we do as a people? Black, white, green, you know what I mean? Bloods, Crips, to not have any more incidents like a Nipsey Hussle. We had a conversation in the office the other day, right? One of our smarter people in the office, right? Mariah asked, you know what I mean? Violence, what was it? What the best? Violence doesn't begat violence. Violence only begats violence at the end of the day, right? You know what I mean? She had the cooler head of the conversation. And we understood. Another one of our co-workers was like, we understand and what answer we're supposed to say, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But sometimes, you know, those words, everybody's not JFK or know where to place, you know, have a lot of emotional intellect of know how to say things correctly. And at the end of the day, somebody lost a dad, a husband, you know what I mean, a mother, a father lost a son. So that's sad. And at the end of the day, and that now that, you know, there's some stuff coming about how his father was an activist. I guess he has an Eritrean background, and, you know, he was standing up for Eritreans and stuff back in the community. So he's a chip off the old block. You know what I mean? Another guy, you know what I mean? Dad had put roots in the community, so he had a good upbringing. Fantastic story. Unfortunately, you know what I mean, on this story will get unraveled and told in a way that it shouldn't have, because Nip won't be around to, you know what I mean, comment or talk about his story or elaborate. We're going to get a lot of interviews, a lot of people who knew him, but we don't have him around to finish the Dr. Sebi doc, to finish another documentary that somebody should have known about. We're not going to have him around to continue to raise money for Vector 90. We're not going to have him around to continue to go into these meetings with city council members and mayors and aldermans and whatever else you have out here. We're not going to have him in those meetings speaking up for the community, and just having him speaking up for athletes and everybody else in the community, knowing that Nipsey Hussle is in those rooms, having everybody's back. Sad day. Sad day. Sad day. Hopefully it's a sad day for a great awakening. Great awakening culturally, for the culture. When you always hear us talk about for the culture, it's not a black-white thing, right? It's not just the brothers up here talking about we speak for the culture because we wear the clothes and we listen to what we do. You know what I mean? You know, we do wear the clothes and listen to the music and kind of set the trends, but it's not a black-white thing. It's a love to all thing at the end of the day. So like I said, I hope this has a great awakening, man. I hope in some way in your life, black, white, green, purple, orange, blue, magenta, salmon, you know what I mean? Whatever color you are, maize, hope whether you do something in your daily walk of life to help the marathon continue. You understand? Whether that's something that you're doing to put back in your community, whether that's reaching out to somebody, you know what I mean, that goes hard in the community, that doesn't necessarily see monetarily benefit, gets a great amount of stress. There's a lot of stress working out in the community. You got to watch your back. You got to appease everybody, the church folk, the working folk, you know what I mean, the hustlers, you know what I mean, the police. It's a lot of energy that goes out. So I hope that you check in with somebody who's working in the community, see how they doing. You know what I mean? Give them some type of a push or some positivity about their way, because they need it. It's a draining thing that they do. I hope that you do your research on Nipsey Hussle, right? Hope you dive a little bit deeper into his lyrics, because we were just listening to a song right before this that we're going to hit you with an outro, where he kind of speaks of having bullshit people around, no? Never watch, or something like, you know what I mean? Always watch around, because, you know, we heard the lyrics before. Nas said it, you know, it's not your enemy that gets you, it's always your own people. You know what I mean? You've seen the hustler movies of all time. Everybody's seen Hoodlum and New Jack City and all the other hustlers. You know what I mean? It's always somebody in your inner circle that know how you move around. So, you know what I mean? Get you some information on Dr. Sebi. Peep the diet. It makes sense at the end of the day. He's not asking you to do anything asinine. He's not asking you to be the world's alchemist in dieting. He's asking you to use common sense and let the human body do what it's programmed to do, which is heal itself. Some of us know, some of us don't. So I hope you do that, and I hope you donate to some. I plan on it. I hope you can take time. It don't have to be, I know everybody ain't got bread like that, but, you know, donate $5, $10, 10, whatever it is, $20 to the marathon, to all its foundations, so the marathon can continue. No, you got a check coming from McCoy family and Officialize, you know what I mean, to quite at least one or two of those platforms. So I'm a man of my word. I'm going to stand by it. I hope you, like I said, I hope you take your time out today, listen to some Nipsey Hussle, even if you don't like rap. Do you think somebody would enjoy some Nipsey Hussle, even if they didn't like rap, considering what the information that's came out and what I just have in the podcast? Justin says yes, man, and I trust Justin's opinion. He's an honest guy. He doesn't just listen to rap. He listens to everything. So if Justin says some people might want to listen to Nipsey Hussle, get you a bar. Pull up, get you a bar, some Nipsey Hussle, so maybe you can understand the culture and what it's talking about. Or when we throw out words like, this is for the culture, you'll understand. I hope I just gave you a little bit more insight into what the culture is. It's not the drip and the skinny jeans with the holes in it. That's a byproduct of the ism from the culture. That's a byproduct of the positive vibration and the self-confidence that you have, knowing that you're doing the right thing and you got positivity running in your heart. If you got positivity running in your heart and you ain't about that bullshit, you about positivity and you vibrate, I could care less what you wear. You want to wear your nipple out with a sheer shirt, you know what I mean? You want to wear some extra drippy shit. You want to wear Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, Fendi, Gucci, and whatever, all rolled up into one, you know what I mean, on one outfit. If you want to waste all the brand names on one outfit, I'm absolutely cool with that if you vibrating on the high, with a high positivity level. So understand that part. I just want to make sure that's clear. The culture is not about the drip and the cars and the jewelry, right? It captures a lot of young kids' minds now because it's flashy, right? And everybody's, living off Instagram and visuals and what it looks like. The culture is about reaching back to the community, teaching kids about entrepreneurship, things that they realistically can do in their neighborhoods, coding, learning about social media. Learning about drones. Shit, the drone industry is huge. Right? What if at Vector 90 we teaching a kid, or Vector 34 down here in San Diego, or wherever you at, what if you teaching kids about coding and drones? You get qualified to fire drones, you know what I mean? Everybody's around here shooting content and shit for hotels and brands, and you never know. So things that they control, they're savants on social media already. So why aren't we programming these kids with the proper tools for them to monetize some of the funny videos and content that they do that just gets ripped for other people's pages and entertainment? Like, what if we were starting these kids, helping these kids start their own pages and Instagram pages, own little content companies? You don't need much. You know what I mean? So, shout out. Maybe that's something we explore here at Officialize, since that's what we're about. Empowering the youth and athletes to tell their stories through their lens and not getting their information disseminated through the mothership. Main vein, straight to your head, just like how we do it on the Official McCoy podcast. Straight to your head. We're not very surreptitious about what we do either. We right at you. We speaking real life stuff from my experiences. Like I said, if you're wondering why another retired athlete is speaking on Nipsey Hussle, is because I moved around to UCLA. I went to UCLA. I played for the Lakers. I played for the Clippers. I played in Slam and Jam. I played in AAU, in Compton, Long Beach. I played at Luders Park. I played everywhere. Drew League. I played in, in the spot, in the community. So I understand how you got to be delicate around there to get love from both sides in the Los Angeles Police Department. You know what I mean? So I made it. Nipsey really made it. A jackass took him out. You know what I mean? A jackass took him away from us. But at the same time, I believe the life he lived, and he did enough on earth for us to amplify that for the rest of our time here on this green thing. Even though we missing bees and lacking rain, I think we're going to be all right. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle's family. Rest in peace. Laura London, his daughter, all his kids, you know what I mean? Rest in peace. Unfortunate situation. I hope his crew, you know what I mean, maintain the marathon. Keep that thing going. This has been the Official McCoy podcast, episode 44. That was Hank Gathers' jersey, by the way. Pistol Pete. Yeah, Pistol Pete. Hank Gathers. 44, two iconic 44s. I believe this was an iconic episode of the Official McCoy podcast. The marathon continues. Thank you for tuning in. Continue to support, subscribe across all podcasting platforms. We'll see you next time.
Hey, run up on you. Ask you where you from and check your tats under your clothing. Hustle, go hard, make sure my knot's swollen. Fuck you, say the wrong hood, bullets explode, and I trust you people these days, cause that's gold. I seen niggas get killed for who they roll with and chose to keep inside they circle. Satan sitting on your sofa. Same nigga that shot you was the one you used to smoke with. Cold shit, my whole clique notorious.